Hey guys, welcome to the shop. And today's going to be a special day. It'll be the first cuts that I've ever made with this machine. I want to share it with you guys. I know a lot of you have been with me since I got it and will be interested to see, some of the first chips this machine makes. So let me get all set up and, we'll get started. And it's early. The sun's just come up. Man, it's cold. I think it's in the 20s this morning. So I'm just going to stone this table off a little bit. We're going to be cutting on a big piece of mild steel. Nothing special. We're not going to be trying to hog anything because, I haven't used this machine. So I want to get the feel of it first. Put the big vertical head on this. I want to try it out. I have run it. I just started the machine and run the head, and it sounds good and seems good. And for our end mill, we're going to be using this, I think it's 1.5" high-speed steel end mill. This is one I just sharpened, so I hope that it performs well. We'll find out. I'm kind of grasping at straws for setups that I can even use in this machine. I've only got 2 holders, so I have to find a combination that works and get an end mill that's sharp. I didn't have any end mills that were sharp, that were the size that I needed for my holders, so I had to sharpen some, but no big deal. We'll get everything lined out eventually. Got my taper. Get our vise on here. Get this thing fired up and make some cuts. I'm excited about it. So I need to get a hold down kit for this thing. I've neglected all the little things. Been worried about getting this machine going and haven't even got a hold down kit for this machine. I think it takes 5/8. The slots are a little bigger than 5/8. 690 thousandths, which is clearance probably. But yeah, I only had 2 T-nuts. I had to dig through my box in there and find a couple T-nuts to even bolt anything to this machine. So I'll probably either make some or have to come up and buy a hold down kit. Within a half thou, that'll work. Check anything. Excited. Should be fine. I don't see why it wouldn't. I mean, this thing is pretty heavy built. Be cutting on a big old block of mild steel. Well, all we gotta do is touch off and cut this thing. Let me get some cutting oil. All right, so we're gonna be running at, let's just say, that looks about right, 247 RPM. We're gonna be feeding at 2 inches a minute. Just taking it easy. We'll do 100 thousandths depth of cut for our first shot. So I'm gonna power feed this thing up until I get close to my cutter. You can just slip the clutch on this thing so you get close, which is nice. Now I'm gonna feed up by hand, touch off. Let me get to the end. All right, let's touch off, cutting oil. Man, this thing is so cold. That's probably good enough. Let's come up and touch off. Hopefully this end mill works. It should. Alright, touch off. There we go. I zero my dials. Come off the work. Feed down 100 thousandths. Let's just go 125. That's a decent cut. And I guess turn on the power feed. Here we go, first cuts. Look at that. No problem, man. I can barely even hear it. I haven't trimmed this head or anything. I'm just assuming it was fairly close. So there you go, first cuts. And I'm excited about that. It's nice. It's a baby cut. Still. It's a cut. We'll step it up once we get more familiar with this machine. Wasn't 100% for sure about that end mill either. I'm still not great at sharpening them. I'm okay. Still a lot to learn, really. Here we go, the end of our first cut. I think I'm going to clean the whole top of this block off. Awesome. Man, that finish is awesome. Alright, so I'm going to step the feed up. That was 2 inches per minute as far as travel. I'm going to step it up to 2.5 for our pass back. And this table moves so easy, you wouldn't think it would being as big as it is. See? take about the width of that end mill. Get a brush. Oil. Faster, quite a bit more aggressive as far as the width of the cut. That really amazes me, you know, after using a Bridgeport basically for as long as I've been milling, really. This thing is just running that no problem. You can't even feel it in the machine. This machine would remove some metal no problem at an extremely high rate. Well, that's what it was made to do anyway. It's just a metal hog, really. My grind seems to be holding up pretty good. I haven't been sharpening much lately. First surface. Looks pretty good. My first finish. Still needs trimmed. I mean, it ain't bad. You can barely feel it, but there's a little. And we'll refine it. That's actually a pretty good finish. But with a rigid machine like this, it should give good finishes. It's awesome. She's alive. Now it's time for the detail stuff. Well, that went pretty well. Definitely, happy that I didn't run into any issues there. And our end mill done really good too, man. That was nice. Everything cut like a brand new one. But if it's sharpened properly, it should cut like a brand new one. I did the primaries, the secondaries, and the ends on this one, and it turned out really good. Had a friend of mine, John, in Florida. He sent me one big 2-inch end mill. These are brand new, made by PCT. Man, that is a heck of an end mill, and sharp as a razor blade too. Sent one for me and one for my buddy Brian Block. So if you don't know him, go check him out. He's my neighbor basically, and when he stops by, I'll give it to him. So thank you, John. I really appreciate that. And it would have been nice to be able to use that, but I don't have a holder that'll hold the 2-inch end mill. I have two, like I said, holders, and gotta find some more for sure because it's crunch time. But I have no doubt that machine would bury this end mill if you were at a conservative feed rate and stuff, and run that easy. That'd be neat to see, and one day hopefully we will. Now, originally I wanted to run that machine in the horizontal position. It is a horizontal mill, and that vertical head is just an extra. But I, of course, ran into more problems, and just like in the vertical setup with tool holders and stuff, I'm grasping for setups that I can even use in the horizontal position. But I cleaned up my arbor support. This slides over the two large arbor supports, or rams I guess, that come out of the machine. It slides over and supports the horizontal arbor if you're cutting horizontally. And up until I think it was yesterday, or day before yesterday, I hadn't really messed with this at all. It was filthy dirty, and I hadn't even really looked at it. Just picked it up, looked it over, and that was it. But I pulled off all the old paint of this thing. I pulled out the, for those that don't know, these have an oil reservoir here and some wicks that run down into this bushing. This bushing rides on a collar that slides on the end of the arbor that holds your cutters, and it oils itself automatically. Here's the wicks that actually come out of it. Totally deteriorated and would not have worked at all, so I'm glad I tore it apart. I really got several parts on that machine I really need to tear down and make sure that they're working properly. But I'm getting oil everywhere on the ways and stuff automatically, so I think everything is at least working for now. But still tons of work to do to that machine. So, long way to go. But on this, when I cleaned it, I found a pretty big problem with it, and I want to share that with you. And maybe next week, who knows, we'll repair this thing. So let me bring you in and show you what I found that's wrong with it. It's a little disheartening, but no big deal. I think I can repair it. Let me show you what's wrong with it. Alright, so on this arbor support, or overarm support, it has a crack running all the way through here, all the way to about a third of the way back. So it's still early in the crack. It hasn't propagated all the way through, but eventually it would, unless I fix this now. I couldn't see it when it was dirty and had paint on it and grease and rust all over it, but now that I've got it cleaned up, I found that. And I think it happened because around this edge here, around the bore, is just a razor sharp edge. It's the same on the front, back, and both sides. They're just super sharp. And what I believe happened is, started cracking right at the edge, and cast iron. Once it starts cracking, it continues usually, especially on a piece that's stressed, because this has a slit in it. When you tighten it down, you know, it flexes these bores to tighten on those rams. So in order for this to not continue, it's going to have to be fixed. So this is an upcoming repair that we'll have to do. Come in, drill the end of this crack out, V this out, make a bushing to hold this bore true, and then, you know, braze it up. Oh, I actually had to find some brazing rods locally in order to get this thing done. I want to get it off, or get it done while I have the time. So we got that coming up. It should be a good repair, I think. Alright guys, I'd like to put out a little feeler, and I'm in search for the items that are on this board. And any of these items do not have to be in good condition. They don't have, as long as they're serviceable, you know, that's all that matters. I'm looking for arbor sleeves for our, you know, horizontal arbors that are the collars, I guess, that go up on the sleeves and allow you to space your cutter, you know, and hold it in a position on the arbor. You really have to have them in order to use, you know, a setup like this, and I've only got a few really. You know, this is the only arbor that I've got that has sleeves on it. So I've got very few. You used to be able to find those by the, you know, bucketfuls, but they're getting a little harder to find. And if anybody has any, I could sure use some. Any size, inch, inch and a half, you know, inch and a quarter. 50 taper tool holders, any size really. 50 taper to Morse taper, you know, 50 taper to just a straight shank, 1/2 inch, you know, 3/4, 5/8, you know, 7/8 inch, whatever. I could use any 50 taper tool holders. Any horizontal milling cutters, like the ones I showed last week. They don't have to be in good condition. They can be dull, whatever. You know, I'm not picky. So if anybody has any of these items they'd like to, you know, part with or sell, I'm interested. Shell mills, I think those are awesome, and I'd just like to run some. Large end mills, again, they don't have to be sharp. And TG100 and TG150 collets. Now, it's just a feeler. You know, hopefully some of you guys will have some of this stuff, duplicates or whatever, that you'd like to part with or sell. I am definitely interested, and, you know, I'd like to have some of this stuff that'll make, you know, me being able to use this mill possible. So, just a feeler. Well guys, I think that's about it. You know, I'm running out of time in order to get this video up in time for Christmas. I wanted to share my first chips that I made on that machine with you guys. I'm really excited about that. I'd also like to wish each and every one of you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. 2018 is almost gone. It's been a really good year for us, really, and I hope that it's been a good year for you guys. Hopefully 2019 will be even better. So, big thanks to all the guys who, you know, kicked in a buck or two on my Patreon page, and I've had a few guys actually donate on my PayPal button, so that was nice and really helps. So, just a personal thank you to all you guys, and you know, I wouldn't be able to do it without you. It helps to keep the lights on and keep the heat out here. It's still cold, but you know, we're doing all right. So, just a big thank you. You know. Really appreciate you guys' support, and I think that's it. If you know where any of the things are on the board, contact me through my email. I'd really appreciate that. If you'd like to sell any of those items or have duplicates, I could use them. And I think that's it. So click on my little guy to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. You know, and as always, you know, I'll see you guys next time.
Merry Christmas!